Lieutenant Ozu, this is amazing. How long have the Blood Dragons been here in this asteroid?
Several generations. But with Takagi eliminated, the Edo Shogunate is weaker, and our victory is near.
Pardon me, Lieutenant.
Excuse me.
Tell me, how long have you known Ozu?
You mean, was he always a radical in the Blood Dragons? No. When I knew him, he was to be a promising political student at the Kusari Academy.
What happened?
People are changed by their world, Trent. Rarely vice versa. Ozu's living proof of that.
Yeah. I'm afraid we have been deceived. This was the right shipment, but we have neither the artifacts nor Takagi. He was not on the transport as we were led to believe. Something has changed.
So what do we do now?
I will make the necessary inquiries. For now, I suggest that you occupy yourselves with whatever diversions we can offer.
Well, I can't just sit here. Maybe the Blood Dragons could use a little help.
Joining the ranks of the radical left?
I'm not on assignment anymore, Trent. I get to see how the other side lives. You know, it wouldn't hurt you to get out there for a while either. Maybe take some missions. From the sound of things, it may be a while. Don't worry. I'll let you know when we hear something.
I'm glad you have arrived. I have news. As we feared, Governor Takagi is indeed alive. I am told that he has secretly left the palace and has moved the artifacts to his fortified retreat, a remote planetoid with many defenses. But I have come up with a plan that should get us both what we want. Shall we proceed?
Okay, let's do it. Have you told Juni yet?
This is for us alone, Mr. Trent.
I see.
Come, we have no time to waste. My attack squad is ready. I'll brief you in space.
Copy that, Ozu. 9090990. Greetings, I am Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Freelancer commentary as we begin the attack on Takagi's stronghold. Excuse me. Yeah, between now and then inside the Blood Dragon's base, there was meant to be a period of time where you do a few missions for them before, eventually getting the contact to meet Ozu in the pub, so... Yeah, again, it's kind of an odd means of pacing, really, because again, there is, periods of time where you're just sort of meant to go off the beaten path and sort of, do as you please, really, but... Yeah, I mean, in terms of trying to focus a linear storyline, again... I just sort of feel like it'd make the pacing a little bit off, because I mean, again, Freelancer does have a bit of a light touch in terms of keeping you focused on the story, but then letting you go off on your own devices, so... Yeah. Not really too much I can do about it, but in the meantime, though, more story stuff going on, so I'll stay silent.
Trent! Ozu! I heard you're leaving, what's going on?
We are attempting to retrieve the Proteus Tome, Junko. We're flying to Takagi's arch.
No! That's suicide! The arch is too well defended!
This is our last chance, Junko. Takagi is leaving for Rhineland.
There must be another way!
We have decided to attack Takagi's base with full force. We will find the tome and kill Takagi. Wish us luck. Ozu out.
Just don't get yourselves killed.
We're approaching the hole now. It will bring us very close to his base.
Whew. Well, Juni's gonna be very angry with Trent and Ozu when they get back. But yeah, we also get our first example of a story-only jump hole, which you can never access again by the time you do this, so yeah, even though there is, like, technically bases and, stuff to see inside here apart from Takagi's stronghold, yeah, putting all that aside, yeah, you never get to go here again. There are a couple of other examples that happen very much in the late game, because I'd say we are definitely past the halfway point at this stage, so... Yeah, this is where we begin to see a few story-exclusive jump holes, which is kind of a shame, really. It would have been cool to sort of explore, like, in the post-game. Again, what I mean by post-game is basically after the stories are completed, you can come back here and just sort of, like, explore around to your leisure, but, alas, it was not meant to be. I mean, we are rendezvousing with, one of the bases inside the Tohoku system, so, yeah, there is a Blood Dragon base here, it's just that we don't really get to do anything with it. But, yeah, in any case, to talk about Takagi's stronghold, Heaven's Gate, yeah, it very much is, a feat of Kusari engineering, and looks, well, quite frankly, a lot more advanced than a lot of the space stations and buildings that, we've seen thus far, so, me thinketh that the Proteus Tome had something to do with it. But, yeah, in any case, well, a lot of this part of the game is very much still, you know, a hunt for a thing. I don't know, it is still wrapped together with a lot of political intrigue, a lot of great characterization from Ozu and the Blood Dragons, and, in turn, the fact that the game does very much begin to pick up at this point as we get, the revelation about who the true main antagonist of the game is, because, again, as we've been seeing with, you know, the Order, Rhineland, and, you know, all these different allegiances and, you know, beings that we've met throughout the game, yeah, things aren't quite as clear-cut as they seem, but again, everybody's got a fucking angle in this game, they're all interesting, and again, there's a lot of depth to the factions that just, I don't know, it just makes it an incredibly great, you know, game that always keeps your mind engaged with, you know, plot elements and things going on. I mean, again, I call it the Sonic Adventure 2 style of, you know, narrative structure, but again, they constantly keep you at, you know, you got a bit of mystery, then you have a little bit of, you know, a bit of action going on, then you got, you know, a bit of depth with characterization and things keeping you interested. Ah, good storytelling. It reminds me of why I'm still alive. But yeah, in any case, so, in terms of mission difficulty here, this is definitely another one of the missions in the game that will have you, pinching your pennies, for lack of a better phrase, because, and it's not even to this point. I mean, again, you might be getting pit with all sorts of laser cannons, but no, by the time you actually begin the attack on Takagi's stronghold, yeah, well, hold on to your purse, ladies and dudes, because Kansas is going bye-bye. Well, Kansas has been bye-bye for a long time. The Coalition now have control of the Earth. It's not even called Kansas anymore, it's called, I have no idea what a Russian, North Korean, or Chinese name for Kansas would be, but whatever. The point is that, we ain't nowhere near Kansas, and, yeah, nothing really to say about that anymore. So it's just another fly around, do battle with a ship, sugar-me-do. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, really. So, yeah, I'm really just sort of wasting time before we get to our next little bit of dialogue as we approach Heaven's Gate, and, oh boy, I already talked about the difficulty, everything else, so, now I gotta figure out about what I can talk about. But don't worry, I'm sure I'll find something. As I mentioned beforehand, Freelancer is a game with a lot of depth, so, believe you me, I will find something to say. But either way, we are going to be finding out the reason why Takagi switched sides between, you know, the Kusari government and, you know, the core system worlds in favor of Rhineland. And let's just say the answer may surprise you.
Mr. Trent, this is the Tohoku Planetary Arch. Once one of the wonders of Kusari ingenuity, now it is a fortress of deceit and evil. Dragons, proceed to the target.
So, here we go. Our main precipice of the now is pretty much to take out the shield generators, but, yeah, again, if you have your craft armed with missile launchers, you can potentially make this a little bit easier by taking out one of the battle cruisers of Kusari that are, well, right above the pitch right here. So, yeah, as we pretty much take a bit of an alternate route. By the way, you don't have to worry about getting electrocuted, I don't think. Oh no, wait, never mind, I tell a lie, there is radiation damage, so, yeah, that takes out your hull and not your shields, but, you know, it is potentially a bit of a safe place you can, sort of hide out if you just go right towards the shield generator, and, you know, use the shield as, well, its namesake, and pretty much use that for cover against a lot of the enemy fighters, and, well, do your best to sort of take out the battleship that'll be launching more fighters that will just give you a lot of trouble to pip. In any other case, though, again, you're still gonna have to deal with fighters regardless, but, you know, this will pretty much turn the tide of battle as you take it out this way. Otherwise, what I suggest doing is basically just sort of using the shield as a shield, you know, from that shield generator protecting, you know, the docking arena, so we can board Takagi's fortress, and then just sort of hiding behind the shield, taking out the shield generators, and, you know, gradually pipping your way towards, and, you know, eventually making tracks inside. And, thankfully, because there's no on-ground segments of Freelancer, yeah, you don't really need to worry about, anything else after this point, so, yeah, it's very much going to be a case of cutscenes galore, but that's not the thing we have to worry about. The thing we have to worry about from that point forward is getting out of this place. And again, this is a major Kusari stronghold, so yeah, they're not going to be too happy about, you know, Trent and Ozu giving, you know, the Kusari government all this. But in the meantime, though, as we continue to, you know, pummel their base with, you know, attacks, really, Yeah, a bit of trivia for Freelancer. Before Microsoft pushed up the release date of the game in 2003, partially to do with Chris Roberts, who was the game director but later removed on the project, and for those of you who are very well aware of the fucking astronomical amount of time that Star Citizen has been in development, you can kind of see why in this case. But yeah, one of the cut content of Freelancer, apart from the dynamic economy that I mentioned beforehand, was going to be 6 endings, depending upon your choices in the game, a more orchestral-oriented soundtrack, and yeah, a fair few story elements and, you know, scenes that were cut that was basically a result of the Digital Anvil buyout by Microsoft, and yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. And you want to know something that's also quite funny? Again, Microsoft did buy out Digital Anvil, and, you know, I mean, to kind of give a bit of a prelude to trivia I'll be talking about much later in the commentary, yeah, there was a Freelancer 2 in development, and then in 2006, Digital Anvil shut down, and, well, basically, what the fuck? Microsoft have basically been sitting on the rights, and now, well, yeah, fuck all has been happening, and the game is pretty much abandonware, and, Freelancer has only really survived by its excellent modding community, and the fact that a game over 20 years old at this point is really just remembered in the fond memories of its fans. And, well, that's kind of a shame, really. Poor Freelancer. It died before it could take off, and, don't worry, we will be talking about, you know, proposed sequels to Freelancer, you know, a little bit later on, but, in the meantime, though, yeah, we've got plot to get on with, so, yeah, enjoy this, revealing cutscene, and, well, let's just say, action, a bit of mystery, and, some, oh dear god, we are totally screwed horror antics abound.
Do you think Takagi's gone?
We'll soon find out.
Some plan. Just shoot everything. I could have done that myself.
Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best.
The tome?
There.
Proteus Tome. Now for Takagi.
Think it will be that easy, do you?
Well, as you said, sometimes the simplest solutions.
Neural gas.
Locked. Not for long. Stand back.
Breathtaking, isn't it? It is one of a kind. Much like this. You and your dragon friend here have broken into my home and killed my servants to deprive me of the Proteus Tome and my life. Why? Why? No. Keep your seat. I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. Not until we have had a chance to talk, Mr. Trent. Leave us.
So, what's to keep me from killing you right now and taking the tome?
I think I'm more than a match for the two of you. On the other hand, maybe I should even the odds.
Ozu!
sure, Mr. Trent. Do you really know with whom you are dealing? You are going to tell me what I want to know. About the tome, the order, everything.
Sweet, crispy Jesus, flame grilled to perfection, much like Governor Takagi was right there. Yeah, yes, you're probably wondering what the fuck is going on, but let's just say that, aliens. They're not quite as gone from the Sirius systems as many people once thought. And, no, that wasn't the Domkavosh, if you were wondering, but, yeah, let's just say that, you know, Rhineland isn't quite the stereotypical German bad guys you might have been led to believe. Instead, it's just a case of, well, yeah, alien infestation. We're going to be getting a bit more of an explanation to this as, you know, Lord Akira thankfully saving us in his, beautiful, you know, dagger starship. Yeah, he'll pretty much reveal the whole skivvy to us, but, yeah, in the meantime, we're not quite done yet, because now, yeah, we gotta fight our way out of the system, and thankfully Juni is here to save us, and no doubt there to rip Trent a new one, after he pretty much left her high and dry at the docking port. I think that earlier scene where she was like, hey, hey, and then gave him a good old slap. Oh dear. But yeah, in any case, yeah, we have the Proteus Tome. Ozu gave his life like a tragic hero, and, yeah, again, I mean, it might not seem like we've known him for very long, but at the same time, though, like, I mean, there was such a rich degree of characterization from Ozu that, again, we might not have known him for very long, but, you know, his impact still hits hard, and I think that's really because of the fact that they really sort of characterized him in a way that, again, you know, Juni respects him because she knew him when, you know, she was growing up as a political student. You know, Trent respected him because of his efficiency in space combat, and, you know, Ozu, from the people who knew him, was respected because, again, he was a great leader, he was a great pilot, and, again, he was convicted with his beliefs. And, again, that just goes to show that, again, a character who isn't even on screen for very long, but, again, if you give them that depth of characterization, you know, it can make all the difference in making a character memorable despite their limited screen time, which, again, in terms of, you know, narrative writing and, you know, characterization as, like, a writing feat, it's very difficult to pull off, but, again, the game pulled it off masterfully, and, you know, that can be said for a lot of characters in the game. Like, I mean, even minor characters that we've only just met, like, once or twice, like, you know, King or Walker or whatever. Again, they're still quite memorable, even Tobias, really. Again, I mean, like, even if he didn't have the rich Welsh tones of John Rhys Davies, lad. You know, again, like, the fact that he was willing to sacrifice so much for Trent and, you know, he was willing to help out was a bit of a let here and there, but, again, depth of character.
Got him. That should set them back for a while. We have to get the hell out of here. Come on. Wait. Where's Ozu?
He didn't make it. He sacrificed his life to end Takagi's reign.
How?
He was killed by a nomad. We only know a few things about them. They are a species with the ability to possess humans, and have been slowly infiltrating the colonies. It appears that they are mostly targeting high-ranking government and military officials. Takagi was one of these people. Up until today, no one had ever seen a nomad and lived to talk about it. We can talk about this more later. I will explain when we are in Chugoku.
So yes, we now have our true villain of the game, the Nomads. What relation do they have to the Domkavosh? Well, we're going to be finding out much later on, but let's just say... Yeah, and this does also actually tie into one of the cut intros of Freelancer, but yeah. I'm not really too sure whether or not this is 100% canon or not, but let's just say the Nomads did also make an appearance in, you know, our solar system, and let's just say they also had a bit of a clash with the Coalition. Again, because that intro was cut, whether or not it's canon is up for debate, but acquiesced.
Lord Hakeda, what is going on?
Go to.
How long have you known about these Nomads?
Before we ever met, the Order was founded to protect us from the Nomads. About 2 months ago, a Rhineland expedition to an uncharted planet found something. Soon after that, key positions in the Rhineland government were replaced, and Rhineland's politics became more and more aggressive. We believe these Nomads attempted to infiltrate the Liberty government when Admiral Schultzky came to visit Manhattan. We had to prevent this at all costs, which is why we destroyed the Donau.
So, yes indeedy, that pretty much explains why, you know, Rhineland was very much a bit of a patsy in this scheme. Again, they were pretty much the ones making first contact with a lot of the alien artifacts, and, yeah, I mean, we're going to be seeing a little bit later on, you know, for those of you thinking that the representation is a bit too skewed in this game, that, yeah, there is a fair amount of Rhineland that is still very much holding true to their original ideals and, you know, is fighting on humanity's side. It's just that a lot of them have sort of been forced out of government positions, both for their own safety and because, well, they need to fight back from within, for lack of a better phrase. And that's very much going to be the precipice of the next couple of missions we're going to be tackling as, well, Trent pretty much goes solo for a while as, you know, he enters into Rhineland space. Somewhat sadly, though, we don't quite get to see as much of Rhineland space as much as I would like, at least in terms of the critical story path. I mean, you don't get like a Kuzari or Bretonia level of spending a bit of time in the system before moving on, because, yeah, after this point, the plot very much sort of, you know, takes center stage, and, you know, with the threat of the Nomads revealed, you very much have to be on the ball, so... Yeah, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time, the plot pretty much goes into overdrive, so catch you dudes and dudettes later. Bye-bye.
I know this is hard to absorb, Mr. Trent, but Rhineland is not our only enemy in this conflict. More sacrifices are being made than you will ever hear in the news. Men like Ozu are dying every day.
Can you really be so callous about him being killed like that?
He knew the risks.
Well, I didn't. Why didn't anyone tell me?
What? That we were being invaded by an alien force we didn't understand? That we had finally come up against something that was more powerful than our own hubris? Would that have helped? That's why the Order was formed, Trent. The peace we are fighting for. That's why it was so important for you and brave Ozu to get that thing at all costs. Because it's important to the Nomads. There. Now you know. How does it feel, Freelancer?